My boyfriend discovered how much money I make. He says I make him feel like less of a man.
You'll never be less of a man in my eyes, John.
Big D will never make you feel like less of a man. I need a gut check if I'm the a-hole or not. I make a good deal of money, which I know people will say I'm the a-hole already, lol. But I live a very modest lifestyle. My monthly budget is $4K a month, and most months I profit 30 grand.
Wow.
30 big ones. I'm self-employed, so sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. Next month, minor flex because I'm anonymous, and I can be. It'll be around $80,000 pre-tax. Woohoo! By the way, this comes from Green Works For Me. It sure does, on the r/OKstorytime subreddit. So I have a boyfriend, and we've been dating for 5 months. He's a good guy, but more traditional than I've ever dated. He works as an assistant manager in a farming shop, paying $15 an hour. From $15 an hour to 80 grand a month.
Yeah.
That's a wide spread.
I'll take those numbers.
You got both ends of the spectrum there.
Kid's like, count me in.
I need that right now, guys.
Oh, baby. I only moved here to be close to my niece and my nephew. Now, he doesn't know what I make. We've only been dating a few months, and I'm private about how much I'm squirreling away. I drive an older Kia. I bought a standard 3-bed, 2-bath house last year, but have it almost paid off. The issue is he saw on one of my invoices to a vendor pop up on my notifications, the bill was $5 grand.
Uh-oh.
I told him it was the cost of doing business, and he was like, must be nice to drop twice what a normal person makes a month on business.
Must be nice.
I'm usually a water off a duck's back type of person when it comes to conflict, so I told him it would be nice if I didn't have to pay that bill. He dropped it, but I was getting a vibe from him over the last few days. He seemed distant. I visited at his place and asked him what was wrong, and I guess seeing me pay $5,000 set him on a complete spiral. He's trying to figure out how much he can be a man when I'm off paying other men more than he makes.
Paying other men? What do you mean? Like she's at Chippendales?
Brother.
What do you mean by that?
Brother.
Like,
what do you mean by that?
I'm paying this man for business. Not for his
Oh.
business, just for business.
For business. I do not like the implications of that, like I'm a street worker or something, and asked him if he freaks out on farmers who drop thousands on equipment. He said it was much different and asked how much I make. Real quick, is that an a-hole move to ask, specifically asking how much you make?
I think it depends on like the context of how long they've been together, like, or how close you are, period, like how close you are to a person. That's a
Big question.
So unless it's like, I don't know, it feels like it's kind of an a-hole thing right now.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're just trying to dig.
So Obi goes on to say, he hasn't asked me that before, how much he earns, which was a little on me because I always gave the impression that that what I make isn't that impressive. I don't know if it's on you, but let's keep going. I had a bad feeling, so I lied and told him $120K, which is officially my salary take. Hi, IRS. If you know what S-Corps are, you have an idea of what I mean. So basically like OP, because OP has so many expenses and like other things, accounting wise, she's making 120 grand a year, when in reality, the like whole business and like the profit is much larger than her like actual. Anyways, he burst into tears. Now that is not fragile masculinity.
Yeah.
I think if I was nicer, I should have consoled him or something. I know he's feeling like a loser, which he's not. He has a cool job in my opinion, and he's super knowledgeable about farm stuff, which I find interesting. But poor. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa. Hey.
I think it's interesting how poor he is.
Fascinating. He's a pillar in the community because we're surrounded by ranches and he knows everyone, and I find it really cool. But he was upset that I see more money on the regular than he sees in a year. I mean, like OP is earning in a month more than he's making in a year.
Yeah.
Most months, it seems. Or like almost on average every month.
Yeah.
I may have dropped the ball a bit here and told him he's going to have to find a way to be okay with not being the provider, and then just got out of his house. I just couldn't figure out a way to make him feel better without lying more or making myself small. I guess I could have told him that working in a farm is super effing manly or something. I don't know. It's easy to think of these things afterwards. My guess is it's some early midlife crisis, quarter life crisis, if you will, but I resent that it's coming at my expense. That because I'm doing well, he feels bad. If I found out he secretly had a lot of family money, I'd be really happy and glad for him. But no, learning I could cover a $5,000 bill for my own business made him feel like less of a man, to the point where he had to throw shade on me. That's a him problem, quote unquote, Opie says. I'm still kind of pissed about that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm coming from a place of super privilege because it's been a few years since I've had to think about bills, and I don't care about what people say. That does change you. So am I the a-hole here? Also, what do I do now? We have an update. Dakota, what do you think?
I don't think this is a case of like privilege of like not being able to pay bills. I think this is entirely like the boyfriend's own. He's caught up in his own idea of how he needs to be a man in a relationship.
Yeah.
And it's like, burying him in these feelings of like worthlessness and like feeling less than, like, but none of that's OP's fault.
Zero.
So, it's really like this guy needs therapy to work through his self-worth issues.
Yes.
Or he needs to figure out a little side hustle to start making some money. But it's weird that you can't put down OP for making money.
Exactly. We can't have this inverse relationship of the more successful OP is, he feels worse, therefore she feels worse. It's this like very like effed up thing. But here's one thing I will say, and just hold on with me here, guys. Just click into your seatbelts and stay with me. So in relationships, I feel like there's kind of no right or wrong. Meaning another example would be like, some people be like, hey, if you don't text me back in like 24 hours, that's absolute insanity. Yeah. Other people are like, oh, I'm a terrible texter, you're a terrible texter. We kind of get back as we are, and like that's just our vibe, right? So it's like it's hard to like have these like steadfast rules of like what's right and wrong. But with the boyfriend, I think like it seems the approach that OP is kind of taking is like, hey, look, I feel for him if he feels bad, right? Like I can understand and appreciate that, like, from his mindset, why he would be having this like negative emotional reaction to what I'm doing, and maybe I should, be a little more consoling or try to be understanding and whatnot. And I think that is true. And at the same token, not allowing yourself to like, not change anything about yourself, not letting that affect your happiness, your success, your however you want to live your life, because then at that point it's control, right? So I feel like I think OP handled it pretty decently. Update. Long story short, my boyfriend of 5 months who doesn't make a lot found out I make a heck of a lot. He makes around 30 grand a year, and I'll be clearing 400K a year, I believe. Though I was caught off guard when he saw my financial email and told him it was 120K, which again is technically OP's. But if we're being real here, it's the 400K. In this context, it's the 400K.
It's the 400.
Yeah. He freaked out and had a minor emotional meltdown because he realized he would never be the provider. I told him to get over it, which he does need to do. Not a huge surprise to anyone, but we talked it out.
There we go.
Guys, we live in a really rural area, and $15 an hour in a farm store is basically the top pay without a major change of life on his part. Moving away, somehow changing jobs when there's no real jobs, winning the lottery, etc. The stress got to him and he didn't react well. He apologized and our relationship limped along for a few more weeks, but he started making little digs at my career. Saying stuff like how he can't believe I make so much money for silly projects. And that it's wild that I make more money than a doctor when I'm not saving lives.
Okay.
Dude.
What's his issue?
Typing them out, they sound like mild nitpicks. And I certainly have a love-hate relationship with my art when I'm in the weeds on it. But I didn't like the vibe that was coming from him. I guess maybe OP has I felt resentful. Instead of being happy that he had a girlfriend who was doing well, it felt like he saw it as a failure on himself. Like, I kind of think my future is not great because AI is coming for my job, but if I somehow do even better, then how would I explain it to him without him freaking out? By the way, if you ever freak out, you can just tap our profile to join us live every single weekday at 3 p.m. PST. And he didn't seem that upset, so I guess that was a good call. Though suspiciously, one of the local churches has contacted me for money for their local charity. They seem to know that I'm a high earner, even though I kept it private. I even use a registered agent for my LLC, so I think he's been telling people tales. It's a small town, so that's fun. Anyways, thanks for the advice on the last post. And for F's sake, I don't do spicy fans. What was the word we came up with? It was, I think it was spicy fans.
Maybe we can do only fungus.
Only fungus.
Only fungus.
No, I don't like the only fungus.
Spicy fans. Anyways, you guys know what we mean. How do we feel?
I think it's, he definitely needs to grow if he's going to be in a relationship where he's not the primary, like, breadwinner or source of income, which I guess, he has the right to be like, I want to be that in my relationship.
Yeah.
But also, that doesn't give you the right to, like, belittle and, like, kind of mock your partner that you're with. with for making more than you. I think you just need to either grow out of that or leave the relationship, which OP was the one who broke it off.
Yeah. I think there's like a very narrow window where it's like, I think the thing that OP absolutely has to change is it can't be tied to his self, because right now his whole self-worth will completely crumble if he's not earning more. Now it's a whole totally
which
another
is crazy.
Which is crazy.
It's already crumbling. It seems like the fact that he's losing like someone who appreciated him,
dude,
just because of like you make more money than I do. I hate you.
He fumbled the bag so
bad.
Bag fumbler.
Hard. But yeah, just work on yourself, bro.